Hello world, welcome back for another Dev video. First off, I want to say thank you so much for all the supportive comments and feedback I've been getting from all of my viewers. I appreciate, and I'm reading all of those comments all day long and replying and answering back to as many of them as I can. For the most direct response from me, you're definitely going to want to be checking out my Discord server. All that aside, let's get into it. Today, I'm bringing you the full review of the MSI GL63. Now, I want to let you guys know I'm taking this super seriously. I'm getting comments every day. I bought this laptop after reading your review. Thanks so much, Dev. Bought this laptop. And I gotta say, I love seeing comments like that. But at the same time, people are making their buying decisions based off of my content. When a product is not a good purchase, I've gotta be direct and straight with you guys. After daily driving the MSI GL63 for the past couple weeks, I gotta say, MSI, you need to step up your game. It's 2019. Now, don't get me wrong, the MSI GL63, it's definitely a strong performer. Quick rundown of the specs. This is the MSI GL63 9 SDK 611 variant. It comes with the 9th generation Intel Core i7 9750H that we see so commonly across all of these high-end gaming laptops, as well as a 15.6-inch Full HD 1920 by 1080 resolution IPS panel. This model is clocking in at 60 Hz. There are 120 Hz variants out there that you'll find for different prices. This particular model with the 60 Hz panel only comes in at a 45% NTSC color accuracy rating. So definitely not recommended for content creation or photography work. It also includes the very powerful NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 Ti with 6 GB of GDDR6, and also my model has 16 GB of DDR4, 2666 MHz RAM, and a 512 GB NVMe SSD storage drive. The retail MSRP for this laptop I'm seeing is coming in between $1,200 to $1,300. That's pretty much a steal, since NVIDIA decided to release the RTX line and pretty much decided it was okay to price gouge their fans. Let's get into the build quality. This laptop is primarily a plastic build all the way around, but it is a very firm and sturdy plastic that I've been happy with. I can definitely say that this laptop is looking fairly durable to me, and I've been putting it in and out of my bag every day, and I've been fairly happy with the way it's been handling it. And for I/O, we have an RJ45 port, HDMI, mini display port, USB 3.0, USB-C, as well as 2 separate ports for headphone and microphone input. And over on the other side, there is an SD card expansion slot, 2 additional USB 3.0 ports, and your DC barrel power connector. This particular model, I've noticed, has the type of hinge on the screen where there are 2 rotation points. There's actually 2 hinges on each corner. And I gotta say, a lot of the laptops that I've been seeing out there that have the singular long connecting hinge across the middle, I definitely prefer that design a bit more when it comes to durability, just because of some past experiences I had with some older laptops back in the day. For these laptops, MSI has not publicly made available the screen brightness, but I can say I've tested using it in daylight, and it seemed like a fairly usable experience. And here we have a picture that shows the backlight bleed on the MSI GL63, and I can tell you that my naked eye, I wasn't really focusing that much on the backlight bleed, so it wasn't interfering or getting in the way of any of my immediate consumption, but it was definitely slightly noticeable during scenes that had a lot of blacks towards the edges of the screen. But even then, it was really just a little bit in the top left-hand side and the bottom left as well. But overall, during normal use, I didn't find myself focusing on the backlight bleed at all, actually taking away from the experience. Now with the Windows 10 power saving profile, I was able to get this laptop to run pretty quietly, almost fanless but not quiet when doing regular Google Chrome workloads. But here's a short clip of the audio to give you a glimpse into what this laptop sounds like when gaming and the CPU is under full load. And here's a look inside of the MSI GL63. I wanted to give you guys a look into the heating solution that MSI has given us, and there are separate heating solutions, separate copper pipes for the CPU and the GPU on either side of the top left and right corner, so that's pretty promising. And we can see along the bottom left and right corners of the laptop, there's our bottom firing speakers. And I want to point out this black plastic that's in between the speakers, joining parts of the chassis together. There's this really neat like circuit board almost design that MSI has laid out and imprinted on the plastic, and I'm really digging it. I mean, the average user will never see it, but it's pretty cool to look at. And any custom touches, to be honest, that manufacturers put in are just appreciated in my opinion. And here's the good stuff. This is the positives that the MSI GL63 brings to the table. Nice and easy user upgradable expansion. So we have two DDR4 RAM slots, which are obviously running in dual channel, and it's coming with two 8GB DIMMs, and you can swap those out, put in two 16s. If you're a heavy power user, 32GB of RAM. Awesome. And what do we see up here above our RAM slots? This blue looking stick, that's our NVMe storage SSD drive from the manufacturer that comes out of the box. And to the left of that, a completely unoccupied NVMe expansion slot for you to throw in a whole extra drive. So right out of the box, no need to switch out drives and reinstall Windows. You can just add in a whole extra NVMe storage drive. And better yet, I'm pretty sure that if you're a little bit crazy and all you want is the top speed, I'm betting you can probably get both of those NVMe sticks to run in RAID 0 for the ultimate storage SSD speed experience. And here, this is a close-up to the left side of the chassis, a whole completely unoccupied 2.5-inch drive bay. Throw in another SSD right there. You could throw in a 1 or 2 terabyte. And I mean, the storage on this laptop, the expansion is just limitless. So later in this video, I'm going to go into a few of my gripes about how I feel like the chassis is a bit outdated. But one thing I can definitely give to MSI is that with shrinking internal components as time progresses and technology gets smaller and smaller, is that yes, MSI hasn't passed that benefit onto the user in the sense of a smaller overall laptop. But opening up this laptop, I have just never seen a laptop so upgrade friendly to give the user choices of just adding anything they want. And this is what you want in a laptop, because the more upgradable a laptop is, the better long-term investment it will be. Okay, now let's talk about the keyboard. The keyboard on the MSI GL63 was actually pretty enjoyable to type on. The keys have plenty of travel and they felt very springy, light to the touch. I definitely enjoyed using the keyboard. MSI, props to you. Your SteelSeries engine keyboards are just on point. And let's not forget to talk about the Rgb lighting. This is just the flashiest Rgb lighting setup I've seen for any keyboard on the market. I'm a fan of it. I love it. I love the pulsing effects. You can customize it and do pretty much any color you want. This is definitely pure eye candy. And I don't care what anyone says, I wish every laptop had a keyboard like this. The trackpad, I'm going to say it how it is, garbage. The trackpad on the MSI GL63 was such garbage to use. I straight up found it completely ignoring my touches and not responding at some times. So if you pick up this laptop, it is an absolute must. External mouse, in bag, at all times, every day. You are not going to want to be using this trackpad. The speakers are bottom firing, as many laptops are this day, but their volume and their bass was quite good. The speakers gave me an enjoyable experience when it came to gaming and media consumption. And now, let's get into the benchmarks. And here's Geekbench, and just as in my Lenovo L340 review, the blue represents out of the box the performance that you'll be getting just using this laptop as it is, and then in the red, I'm going to be illustrating performance after undervolting. And this is with a negative 130 millivolts, but I will definitely iterate to you guys, your mileage will vary. Every chip is different, so your undervolt will be different than mine. And I'm going to put a link in the video description down below to a video I uploaded on how to undervolt, so you can definitely take a look there if you're interested. Now what we're seeing here is pretty respectable scores, definitely better than what I got out of the Lenovo L340, so we are seeing that with this chassis, we're getting better performance. Now, the multi-core scores benefited a lot from undervolting, however the single core didn't. And here's Cinebench, Release 20, a really popular benchmark that tests the rendering performance of our processor, and what I'm seeing is about a 9% improvement from undervolting, but even without the undervolting, we're getting really formidable performance out of the box. And here's Passmark, a really thorough and comprehensive benchmark of all the aspects of our system, and I'm seeing great numbers. The NVMe SSD they gave us is really fast out of the box, great memory speeds out of that memory, and also good graphics performance, really strong, and the CPU performance is way up there as well. But I am noticing undervolting didn't really help us at all in this case. In fact, in some, it actually performed a little bit less. Now, I don't want to point the finger at undervolting here and say that it's having a negative effect, but it's definitely having a negligible effect. There's many variables that come into play when running these benchmarks, so there's definitely a chance that other factors were affecting the benchmark. But either way, regardless, strong performance numbers out of the box here. And here we have an Adobe Premiere test. So for those video editors and those creators out there, I wanted to show you guys, this is a 4K 2-minute video clip that I exported and rendered in Adobe Premiere, and it's just, I mean, woo, this is just awesome. So actually under 2 minutes, it finished rendering and putting together the project into an export file. This performance was just great. This laptop will serve you well if you are a video creator. And here's the good stuff, the gaming benchmarks. And what I'm seeing is pretty epic performance. Every single game that I ran from this list ran well over 100 FPS with no problems, and that was all at high or ultra settings. And I mean, whoa, you look at the undervolting, the effect that that had. Some games like BioShock, the FPS just shot way through the roof. So great experience with gaming. And what these numbers are really showing me is that despite some of the thermal issues that I did observe with this laptop, which we'll see more of in the next slide, bottom line is you're going to have a great gaming experience with this laptop. Again, you're going to want to try to look for one of those variants out there with a higher refresh rate screen, or if you pick up the 60 Hz refresh rate screen, you're probably going to want to be gaming on an external monitor if possible. And here I wanted to show you guys some results from stress tests that I was running on this laptop to give you guys a little bit of a look into some of the downsides with this laptop. So I want to apologize if this graphic is kind of hard to read and understand, not as good as my graphs, I know, but it was kind of hard for me to think of how to represent a combination of such drastically different statistics such as core frequency, CPU temperatures, whether it's power limit throttling or thermal throttling. So if you guys have suggestions, please let me know down in the comments below. But what I am seeing is this laptop runs really hot. Okay, it actually got hot to touch. It was bothering me at some points, not around the palm rest, but I mean up at the top of the chassis. And during gaming and stress tests, this CPU sits at about 95 Celsius the entire freaking time. And I am seeing, as highlighted in red over to the right, this laptop attempts to thermal throttle itself to bring down those temperatures a little bit. Now, performance is still pretty good, so it's obviously not thermal throttling enough to really ruin the experience. This is still a high-performing laptop, but definitely there's some room for improvement, and I have a feeling that other laptops out there from other manufacturers, such as, for example, the Acer Predator Helios 300, might perform a little bit better. What did we see from these benchmarks? The MSI GL63 is a pretty good performer. However, I was surprised to see that this laptop thermal throttled quite a bit, and it ran super hot. My CPU temperatures during heavy workloads were usually around 95 degrees Celsius. Now, I am aware that's within the safe limits for the thermal junction of this processor. It's not going to cause damage. However, I just don't really like it when a laptop is running that hot all the time. Now, if this chassis were able to maintain thermal dissipation and performance along with those high temperatures, I would be okay with it. But this CPU thermal throttled. Now, I had pretty good gaming experiences nonetheless on this laptop. So I guess if you could get this laptop for a steal of a price, it could still very much be a viable option. However, I was just not a fan of the overall design when it came to this laptop. The chassis is definitely outdated. MSI has been using this chassis for years now. MSI, throw it out the window. Start from scratch, get your engineers in a room, give me this laptop with this same exact keyboard, a Windows Precision trackpad in a chassis like the Acer Predator Helios 300, and boom, satisfied customer right here. But just after looking at all of the other laptops out there from Asus and Acer and other manufacturers like Razer, a chassis like this is just not acceptable in 2019. The bezels are huge, the heat dissipation is just not cutting it, and I would just say for consumers spending their hard-earned money of $1,000 or more, you gotta make it worth their money, MSI. So, overall recap, should you buy the MSI GL63? I would say probably not. There's better options out there from other manufacturers. and I can just say that an outdated chassis like this really isn't quite worth it in 2019. The NVIDIA GeForce 1660 Ti paired with the 9th generation Intel Core i7 9750H definitely is good for gaming and productivity. But when it comes down to it, as a person coming to you guys, testing all these laptops, and honestly, right now, I am trying to find which laptop I want to use as my daily driver for the next 2 years. And I can say, I'm not sure if I've found it yet. I'm considering the Acer Predator Helios 300. So far, it's looking pretty good. But the MSI GL63, probably not. So I would definitely say, at full MSRP for this laptop, it would be a solid pass from me. I wouldn't pick it up. If you can find it really at a steal of a price, as long as you really think long and hard and pay attention to all of the downsides that I went through in this video, then maybe I would say go for it. But otherwise, there's better options out there that will serve you much better. So thanks for watching. Please like this video if it helped you out. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. Take a look in the video description down below. I'm gonna put links to my website, dalportodev.com, where all of the benchmarks and CPU temperatures will be posted, as well as all of my social media handles and my Discord server. I'm online every day, and there's many other great people on there willing to help you out as well. So thanks again for watching. DalPortoDev out.